Welcome back. This is Robert. I am the recovery guy. Thank you for joining us today for this segment. Today is the how I get there. You know, when I was out there, I had no direction. I was going nowhere but down. It's hard out there. You know, if you're new or relatively new to recovery, first of all, I want to welcome you. This could be the greatest thing you ever do. I know, for me anyway, and others like me, it was the greatest thing we ever found. Whether or not you do it, you know, that's entirely up to you. When I was out there ripping and running, everything was so confusing. I lost my way, and I ended up nowhere. So we come into the program of Alcoholics Anonymous or Narcotics Anonymous, Overeaters Anonymous, whatever your 12-step bend is. We come into the program, we have no direction, we barely have any hope. We're in a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. We're as lost and as bankrupt on every level as we could have ever imagined. We don't even know how we got here. We just know we are. We don't want to die. We just don't know how to live. So we come in and we hear these stories of what's happening in the lives of the people who are in the meetings and people that we meet after the meeting, sometimes even before. And we see where they're at in their station and position in life. And I think, how do I get that? The Big Book says if you want what we have and are willing to go to any lengths to get it, then you are ready to take certain steps. So that's the how. Taking the steps. You know, in the doctor's opinion, it talks about following a few simple rules. How do I get there? I love the how. It's broken down so beautifully. Many of you have heard it before. Some of you might be hearing it for the first time. Honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. The 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, they are the path. They are the how. How we go from broken and despaired to whole. Going from broken to whole is the mission of Recovery Guide, to show you how to go from the broken state you were in when you got here, or maybe you're still broken and you've been here a while. We believe that you do recover. We believe, as it says on page 98, that we can get well. Burn it into the consciousness of every man. We can get well. We recover. We get well. We get better. Our lives change. But it doesn't happen by accident. We have to be honest. We have to be open-minded. We have to become willing. I was telling my friend Chris earlier today that the Big Book says our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. You know, that's true. The book is meant to be suggestive only. It's been my experience that there's only one alternative suggestion, and it's found on page 31 of the Big Book. It says to go try some controlled drinking. Go try to drink and then stop. Get a full knowledge of your condition, a full knowledge. You know, I thought I had the knowledge when I came in. I was broken, I was battered, I was bruised. I admitted I was powerless over alcohol and my life had become unmanageable. But I get a little physical sobriety, I think I'm okay. And then I'm wondering, maybe I don't have to be quite as honest. Maybe I can only pretend to be open-minded, and I can fake willingness, because willingness is not tangible. I can go through the motions all day long and pretend that I'm willing, but I'm not. But then I relapse. That's the alternative suggestion. So you and I either become honest, open-minded, or willing, or we take the suggestion of page 31 and we go out and we try to drink again and get a full knowledge of our condition. And I'm not telling you to go drink, because some of us don't make it back. I was so fortunate that after my relapse, I was able to come back to the program and get it right. And 31 years later, I'm doing better than I ever thought I would. My sobriety has surpassed all of my expectations of when I first came in. Not that I've gained perfection by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't need to be perfect to have this life that I live. It's a wonderful life. But I learned how to be honest, open-minded, and willing. And to break it down even simpler, again, if you're new or relatively new, honesty is in step 1. Open-mindedness is in step 2. And a willingness first occurs in step 3. Very simply put, it is, I can't. Step 1, I can't. I'm powerless and my life has become unmanageable. He can. Step 2, I came to believe that a power greater than myself could restore me to sanity. And step 3, I become willing. I made a decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of God as we understood God. That's the how. The beginning is the how. They're not even action steps, just degrees of open-mindedness, willingness, and honesty. Can you do that? I hope you can. Because if you can understand the how, and how to incorporate that into the 12 steps, you can recover from that seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. You can go from that position of despair and discouragement to a brand new life. Step 1, honesty. Step 2, open-mindedness. Step 3, willingness. And then they're actually repeated and weaved through the rest of the steps. In step 4, when we make a fearless, searching fearless moral inventory of ourselves, that's honesty, right? And then we become open-minded to see where we've been wrong. And then in step 5, we become willing to share that with God and to someone else, obviously ourselves. And then once again, in step 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. We are willing. In step 7, where we humbly ask Him to remove these shortcomings, we're actually incorporating the entire how. Honest, open-minded, and willing. Step 8, we are honest and open-minded when we had made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. It's honesty and open-mindedness. And then we display the willingness in step 9 when we make direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them and others. And then steps 10, 11, and 12, honesty. I take a daily inventory, and when I'm wrong, I promptly admit it. So I'm actually using all 3, the honesty, the open-mindedness, and the willingness in step 10. And then I'm willing and open-minded in step 11. I'm open-minded to hearing from God. I'm honest in my approach to God as I understand God. And then I'm willing to work His will as I sought through prayer and meditation to improve that conscious contact. Praying only for the knowledge of His will, I become willing to do His will. And then in step 12, after having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, I then go carry that message. So I become honest, open-minded, and willing throughout the entire 12 steps. It never stops. And I'm so glad it doesn't stop, because you know what? Practice, practice, practice. And again, I never reach perfection, but I don't need to have this life that I have. I love the life that I have. I love learning new ways of being honest, of where I need to be honest in. And then the open-mindedness that it takes to understand that There's something else out there for me to understand. There's something else out there for me to incorporate into my life. To not to be so quick to say, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to listen to you. I've got my own way. Nah, I need to take it all in. I need to understand that there's always something else out there for me to evaluate, to determine whether or not I want to include it into my life. Or maybe I just use it, I'm open-minded to understand why it won't work. But I need to look at it. And then thirdly, that willingness. I need to take things that my sponsor Jack is a great guy. He's been my sponsor for over 30 years and we're great friends today. I contact him and say, hey Jack, what do you think I should do here? What do you think I should do there? And then I have to be willing to take his advice, counsel, and direction. My name is Robert. I'm the recovery guy. I hope this segment on the how, on the honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness has helped you. I guarantee you, talking to you about it has sort of encouraged me to become more honest, more open-minded, and certainly more willing. And as it says in the big book, we are sure to meet each other as we trudge this road to happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then. Thank you for joining in.